It's been quite the journey with the Fold 8, and I've got a lot to say about Samsung's latest foldable. However, my journey actually started a few weeks ago when I headed to London for Samsung Galaxy Unpacked. The trip started with a drive from Michigan to Windsor, followed by a flight out of Toronto to catch my connection. After about 11 hours of travel, I safely landed in London and headed straight to my hotel. To be fully transparent here, Snapdragon invited me along with Snapdragon insiders covering my travel and this hotel. My room was very comfortable and had a great setup to get some work done, as well as to relax after all the travel. I could kick back, watch some TV, funny enough, on a Samsung TV. But anyways, there was also a very nice view of Soho, and while I was tired from all the flights and the 5-hour time difference, it was time to hit the streets and check out London, where it was very apparent Samsung really took over London. Unpacked ads were everywhere, from buildings like this one to double-decker buses. Fast forward though to the next day, the main event, the Snapdragon insiders and I took the tube to Old Billingsgate, where Unpacked was being held. Billingsgate is a historic London site that housed the world's largest fish market until 1982. This 19th century Victorian building has since been converted into an events venue, and it's truly a cool location to host Unpacked. We checked in, picked up our badges, and began to make our way inside. As you can see, this is no small event, but it was really easy to navigate and eventually find our seats. We settled in, caught up with our friends around us, and soon enough Unpacked kicked off, of course diving right into AI before announcing the devices. After the presentation, Samsung literally dropped the curtain behind us. And with that, revealed the new Flip 8, Fold 8, and Fold 8 Ultra in a magnificent display showing off their latest foldable hardware. Specifically, the displays were, well, on display here. From there, however, we headed downstairs to the Experience Center to get some hands-on time with the actual devices. If you've ever wondered what these events are actually like, they might look like pure chaos on camera, but they're actually incredibly well organized. There's plenty of staff on hand to help out, and it's generally an awesome experience getting to see how all this comes together, coupled with so many great creators that are always approachable and equally helpful. I first went straight for the Fold 8 Ultra. Now, the main refinements here are the cameras and battery, but overall it feels very similar, identical really to the previous Fold 7. The improved hinge and underlying display tech, however, was immediately noticed. As soon as you open it, you not only see it, but there's also a satisfying audible feedback when doing so. I moved on to the Flip 8, which I do have to say really felt like the most underrated device that didn't seem to be getting as much love as the other devices announced, at least in the hands-on area. However, while the Flip style usually isn't for me, I do have to say I quite like the refinements in the build of this year's Flip. Plus, it's powered by Snapdragon this year, which is even better. I was really excited to hear that. Next up, the Galaxy Watch 9 and Watch 9 Ultra 2, which both seen great refinements this year as well, but also come packed with Snapdragon. Snapdragon and Samsung really stepped up their partnership, and again, I couldn't be happier to see this. They even partnered along with Google to announce their new smart glasses, and while we couldn't actually try these on in the hands-on area, the specs, high-level features, and the designs all point to a really promising release in the future. I'm definitely really excited to check these out, and I really can't wait for these to drop. But now onto the main attraction for many at Unpacked, the Fold 8. I could not wait to get my hands on the Fold 8. The design immediately won me over. The moment I picked it up, it further solidified that this could be the Fold for me. I spent as much time with it as I could in the hands-on area, but I knew I had to get one of my own to truly test and provide my feedback. This was going to be my immediate pre-order. And after checking out the devices inside, we made our way back outside to spend more time with a few loaner devices like the Watch Ultra 2, the Fold 8 Ultra, which by the way, I love the violet shadow color. It is the one to get in my opinion, as well as the Fold 8 in the beautiful lavender. Later that night, we closed out Unpacked, celebrating the launch with Samsung surrounded by great friends, food, a few drinks, and a live show. It was an excellent way to close out such a great night. Thank you to Snapdragon. Your entire team was so great. This was an awesome opportunity and one I'll never forget. Thank you to all the insiders as well. We had such a great time together. Link in the description to all their channels and socials. Definitely give them a follow and subscribe. Samsung brought their A game to Unpacked. All the new devices offer great features, but since I can't buy them all, the Fold 8 was the only one that truly felt right for me. Once my pre-order arrived, I could not tear into the packaging any faster to immediately set it up and activate it with my main eSIM. To continue this journey, I want to truly daily this and experience all the Fold 8 has to offer. I went with the lavender. I liked the pistachio and the white models too, but the lavender really stands out, and overall it was my favorite color in person at Unpacked. It just looks excellent in all lighting conditions. dimensions. It's really thin, 4.5 millimeters unfolded, and weighs just 201 grams, which is slightly under the standard iPhone 17 Pro at 204 grams for context. Samsung noted it's built from advanced armor aluminum with an inner titanium layer to minimize the crease. Yes, the crease is still there, but the crease is less noticeable than Folds previously. Internally, the Fold 8 is powered by the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor and has a 4,800 mAh battery, though unfortunately it does lack built-in MagSafe style magnets, so you will need specialized cases to use magnetic accessories. On the back, there's a dual camera setup, a 50 megapixel main sensor and a 50 megapixel ultra-wide lens. There is no telephoto zoom. There's a 10 megapixel selfie camera on both displays and the ability to shoot up to 8K at 30 FPS. The fingerprint scanner is located on the power button and is super quick to set up, super reliable to use. After using the Fold 8, I want to dive first into the displays, as the displays are really the primary reason for buying a passport style foldable like this after all. The 7.6-inch main display and 5.5-inch cover display both utilize dynamic AMOLED tech with 120Hz adaptive refresh rates. The displays reach a peak brightness of up to 3000 nits, so the Fold 8's bright enough for direct sunlight, but I do want to note that the Fold 8 uses older M13 display tech to keep manufacturing costs down, so it doesn't get the higher brightness and better battery efficiency that the newer M14 panels found on the S26 series offer. The inner display though, however, also incorporates a low reflection finish, which also helps for visibility in direct sun. Consuming media on the inner display is immersive, but there is no flex mode, which is just really odd to me. From Folds I previously used, flex mode was one of the main standout features I used when watching a video. Really unfortunate to see that omitted here. Reading on the inner display is excellent. I prefer it on this style foldable actually. Gaming is also great even for just my casual gaming needs. You've probably seen all the posts of Pokemon emulators, which just goes to show how many are really enjoying this form factor for gaming overall. While consuming media or gaming, the first thing you immediately will notice are the speakers. The speakers are clear and crisp and overall sound good. However, when unfolded, the soundstage shifts as the speakers are now all on the left side of the device. This is not ideal, and it's interesting Samsung went with this engineering choice, and it's just worth calling out. Performance-wise, the Fold 8 breezes through heavy multitasking, easily running multiple apps side by side. For the apps that I use at least, the aspect ratio has been okay. I have seen and heard many complaints, however, that the aspect ratio doesn't always work well with all apps, so just be mindful until app developers update to respect this aspect ratio. You may encounter compatibility issues. Also, while it has plenty of power backed by Snapdragon for demanding games, high productivity sessions, the ultra-thin design struggles with heat during extended use, occasionally forcing the phone to dim the screen and throttle performance to cool down. Is this a showstopper for majority buying this? Not at all. But I do want to be fully transparent here because I did feel the device get rather warm on a few occasions, warmer than most slabs. As foldables continue to get thinner, this kind of thermal throttling is just going to be a standard trade-off, while we likely won't see a real fix until cooling technology catches up or other internal components shrink enough to make room for better heat management. In terms of just daily use, this is a snappy foldable, and I find myself using both the outer display and the inner display equally throughout my day, whereas Folds of the past I found myself using the inner display the most while leaving the outer display for just as needed. In other words, this form factor really just works, at least for me in my daily usage. Also, just listen to this when you open it and close it. That audible feedback is just priceless. Alright, for the cameras, no, this isn't going to be the best camera setup compared to every other flagship, slab, or other foldables from competitors, but honestly, for 99% of people, tech and spec enthusiasts aside, it gets the job done where you need it to. I've been pretty happy overall with the cameras. Obviously, in better lighting conditions, it performs the best, and yes, given the price point, would I prefer to see better cameras? Of course. However, in majority of cases, for most people, like I said, this camera setup overall is great. I also want to make a special mention that video performance actually shocked me here. Capturing video is quite good on the Fold 8. Anyways, here's a few samples. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. do want to mention that I don't like using a case, though there is the camera wobble when I set it down on a table. I also highly recommend most should get a case and a screen protector. At Unpacked, it was very apparent the front display scratches very easily in the hands-on area. With the Fold 8, you still have all the other features you would expect, like DeX, wireless, wired, and trackpad mode, Knox security with secure folder, which I use often for my work apps, and all the other great Samsung features aside from the flex mode I mentioned. So overall, Samsung has packed a lot into this foldable form factor. With all that said, before I forget, battery has been very impressive on the Fold 8, easily an all-day phone with heavy use, topping off before bed or charging in the morning before you start your day. Zero concerns regarding battery here. Okay, to close this out, let's recap. The Fold 8's new passport design is undeniably the biggest selling point. The wider shape's fantastic for media, reading, and typing, whether it's opened or closed. It has a 3000 nit anti-glare display, a sturdier flex titanium build, and a refined hinge. Performance is incredible thanks to Snapdragon, giving you around 17 hours of battery with 45-watt fast charging with a supported charger, plus there's 7 years of guaranteed OS updates. Of course, the Fold 8's not perfect. The price tag is still very high compared to traditional slab phones. There's some odd omissions like no flex mode, and skipping a dedicated telephoto lens is a noticeable compromise. Also, while the display is great for video, the speakers aren't as immersive, especially with the stereo separation when unfolded, and while foldables are getting stronger and have proven to be more durable than many have thought year over year, with just an IP48 rating, you still need to keep the Fold 8 away from dust and sand. Primarily driven by that wider passport design, Samsung's Fold 8 beat South Korea's pre-order record by over 1.4 million units, pulling many users away from traditional slab smartphones despite the higher prices. Official US numbers have not been released yet, but demand is already pushing shipping dates into October, pacing last year's Fold 7, which saw a 50% US sales surge. Even though the mainstream S26 Ultra is $600 cheaper, saving $25 a month on a 24-month plan or $17 a month over 36 months, the Fold 8 is winning in early sales momentum. In fact, the Fold 8 beating the entire S26 lineup's pre-order record in South Korea, the Fold 8 proves premium foldables can actually compete with top-tier slabs now. Overall, Samsung truly delivered with the Fold 8. Expanding their foldable lineup means there's something for everyone. If you want a compact, pocketable design, the Flip has you covered. If you need the best cameras on an ultra-slim fold, Samsung's got you there too. But if you're looking for something right in the middle, the Fold 8 is the phone to buy. At the end of the day, having more choices is a consumer win, ensuring you get exactly the device you need. Huge thanks again to Snapdragon for the invite and covering my hotel and travel costs to Samsung Galaxy Unpacked in London. Neither Snapdragon nor Samsung saw this video beforehand or had any input in my review. I also bought the Fold 8 myself with my own money during pre-orders. All of my unpacked footage was shot on the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra, which was also a device I purchased myself. Did you order a Fold 8? What are your thoughts of this form factor? Let's discuss in the comments down below, and as always, thank you for watching, take care, and stay safe.